focus. Ideate, innovate, enable. YES Bank and CNBC-TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance.
Hello and a very warm welcome to YES Bank and CNBC-TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance. Now, the Hyderabad chapter of the Growth Summit is not just a reflection on these efforts, but it is also a platform to amplify the strategies and perspectives that can escalate India's journey to becoming an even stronger economy. And India's banking sector has accelerated the nation's economic growth through its robust structure and persistent performance. Amidst this, of course, stands YES Bank, one of the leading private sector banks that not only endorses India's economic vision, but is also set to catalyze the process through its products, offering, and its commitment to a technology-driven approach with customer centricity. To further deliberate on the bank's vision, we have with us a visionary leader with over 35 years of experience in the banking sector. Please join me in welcoming the turnaround specialist and the chief architect of YES Bank of today, Mr. Prashant Kumar, MD and CEO, YES Bank, for his opening address.
We are extremely fortunate to be the citizen of this country, which is the 5th largest economy and aspiring to be the 3rd largest economy by 2030. And that is something which is bound to happen. It's only maybe it can happen 1 year earlier than what you were thinking, or maybe a little delay. When we are talking about the growth, the most important part is contribution by everybody. Okay. We are seeing like there are so many events which are happening globally where we don't have much control. Whether we talk about recession in some of the economies after the COVID, whether we talk about the Ukraine war, whether we talk about some more events on the geopolitical side, what's happening in China, but definitely those things are absolutely not under our control. So I think it's very, very important how we can protect Indian economy from any impact of the global impact. And for that, I think what is more important is in terms of leveraging our own strength and insulating us from the global side. One of the most important requirement of our country for a very, very long time was in terms of having the right kind of infrastructure. Along with the huge investment on the infrastructure side, I think we are also seeking in terms of how we can make it a very large manufacturing hub. Not only a large manufacturing hub, but also in terms of a global export hub. And when we are talking about the manufacturing, such a large working population, we are talking about the entrepreneurship. It means also in terms of support to the MSMEs. The current estimate is that if we would like to support the MSME sector in our country, we require something around 250 trillion Indian rupees of investment and the credit in the MSME sector over a period of time. And here, the support is required both from the banking sector side and also in terms of investment, also in terms of training the MSMEs. Another very large area is also in terms of the digital infrastructure. Today, our country is a leading country across the globe in terms of making not only the payment system digital, but also creating the digital public infrastructure. Another dimension, and which we are seeing again, our country is leading, is in terms of the startup ecosystem. Now, startup ecosystem is not only critical in terms of bringing the innovation, but also in terms of creating the entrepreneurial skills, transforming the businesses, and also creating the jobs. We have seen in the past when we started opening Jan Dhan account, and we were thinking like opening the Jan Dhan account may be one of the other welfare measures. But I think today we are seeing the advantage of opening the accounts of every Indian, opening the account digitally. And we are seeing the benefit in terms of like when the direct benefit transfers or the government subsidies are being passed on to more than 100 million people, there are no leakage. It means we are able to protect, we are able to save lot of wastages which was otherwise happening in the system. At YES Bank, we are trying to contribute in all these aspects, whether this is a support to the MSME sector, whether this is contribution to the startup ecosystem, whether it talks about the ESG and the climate risk. I think in each of those areas, we are playing some of the leading roles. We take very pride in saying like today, every third digital transaction of the country is being supported by YES Bank. And we are talking about the billions of transactions. If we talk about the digital transaction in the country, if you include all kind of sourcing, whether it's a UPI, NEFT, RTGS, we are talking about 14 billion transactions a month. And 1/3 of those transactions are being supported by YES Bank. Similarly, we are also known in the forefront for supporting the MSMEs. Again, 30% of our balance sheet is coming from the MSME sector. All our policies are also aligned in terms of the ESG, which becomes very, very sustainable development. And again, we are proud to be a bank which is the highest rated ESG compliant bank in the India amongst all the banks. We are trying to contribute in all those significant areas which would take our country towards the path of $10 trillion economy, as well as becoming this as a developed country. We also appreciate that when we talk about the development and the inclusive development of the country, definitely there would also be wealth creation. And I think the thought process should not be to look down the people who creates wealth. I think this is also very, very important for the country to not only recognize, appreciate, support the wealth creators and the wealth. And in this endeavor, we also think in terms of how the bank can support our HNIs, and where the estimate is that in next 2 to 3 years, the number of HNIs would double. YES Bank has also come out with a special curated program, which we call as a YES Private, to take care of the specific needs of our HNI clients. Thank you so much again for coming and sparing your time for attending this event.
YES Bank and CNBC-TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance. YES Bank and CNBC-TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now for a very exciting conversation. This discussion is centered around the theme from roles to roadmaps, stardom strategies. Please welcome on stage Adi Vishesh. Shesh, this is a very, very different audience, I guess, for you. We are sitting in a growth summit, and everybody is keen to pick your brains on your business acumen as well.
I'm not very smart on the business end, but actually, you guys are in my hotel. We shot a lot of Major here, so very nice to meet you all.
All right, let's first start to talk about what social media is talking about at the moment, G2 and Decoit. Are these the projects that you're most excited about? What is 2024 looking like for you?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of shooting for these two films. G2 is the sequel to my film Gudachari, which came out in 2018. It sort of recreated the spy genre for Telugu cinema. And with G2, we're actually taking it national in terms of how we're making it. We recently added Imran Hashmi to the cast, and We really hope to take it to 5 different Indian languages. Dacoit or Dacoit in Hindi, we're shooting that in Hindi. It's Shruti Hassan and I, where we start that next month.
All right, let's talk business now. You are not just an actor, but you are also a producer, you're also a writer. Was that a natural process, like a transition that was expected, or was it induced by circumstances and where you were at in the industry at that point in time?
Absolutely necessity, you know. I come from outside the business. I had a cousin who was a director, but he was up and coming as well. So we had both pursued separate paths, and I didn't really know anybody beyond him. And I'm one of those guys, I suck at auditioning. So I always understood, you know, मतलब acting करो ताकि, you know, एक theater में 1000 लोग बैठ के, you know, you make them cry, you make them laugh, whatever it may be. लेकिन एक room में बैठे-बैठे 3 लोग आपको judge कर रहे हैं, मुझे, I don't know how to handle that, you know. So I was never really good at auditioning. And when you come from the outside, there's no reason for a producer to want to pick you. Yeah. Because as you said, if we're talking about business, it comes down to like, okay, I put $100 on this guy, what am I going to get back? You can't just say, sir, mera talent hai, dekh lo, you know. I still feel that we're a nation that rewards a PV Sindhu after she wins the Olympic medal rather than investing in creating 10 PV Sindhus. So it was out of that necessity that I started taking a hobby of mine, which is to write. And I started writing scripts for myself.
What's with the production costs? You're known for bringing out the best out of a lesser. Your films look more expensive than you have spent money. Is that your mantra?
It was, especially coming from a sort of independent film background and the kind of filmmaking I'd studied in San Francisco. But truth is, I think it's just about, I'm always going to be, you know, my next film's touching a 3-figure budget. But the thing is that you want to make something that looks 3 times that. That's always been the goal. And additionally, I think the reason why stuff always looked expensive is that I believe you can't buy taste.
Collaboration is key for any industry. And everybody who's sitting here who's working in the startup, startup environment, or even when we're talking about great teams, every single person plays a role. In that sense, when you're looking at collaborating with directors, producers, fellow actors, what is it that you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think it also depends on what stage of your career you're at. You know, when I was starting, I was just like, man, if somebody would just hire me, that'd be great. So I just think it depends on where you're at. And I think today I'm at the stage where I'm only interested in in working with people who believe in a common goal. The common goal being, we need to make an extraordinary film. You know, my last film released in December of 22, and I've just begun shoot. So I spent a year writing. So I'm only interested in working with producers, directors, co-stars who understand that kind of a goal. There's a lot of actors who sort of get their freedom and their sort of kicks from doing 2-3 films in a year, because for them it's like, yeah, I want to be different people at different times of the year. And I think that's amazing. I don't know how to do it.
How do you see work across different platforms now? There's OTT, there is, of course, films, television is always popular, and you know, a lot of actors are also coming on television shows. Then, of course, there's YouTube and social media. Having said that, is there one particular medium that you really enjoy?
I think, look, I've always only been interested in theatrical films. I remember as a kid, I watched Rajnikant's storm onto the screen in Basha, and ever since I saw him do that, I wanted to either see him, meet him, or be him. You know, and I think that it's been the whole pursuit of a career in that sense. I've always believed that, you know, I make a small joke. It's in good fun. I don't mean it really, but the joke is, जब हम theater में बैठते हैं सर उठा के देखते हैं, जब OTT पे देखते हैं तो ऐसे सर झुका के देखते हैं. You know,
Wonderful.
I make that joke, but truth is, I think you know, we need to. We all want to tell stories, and I think different stories are suitable for different mediums. You know, if you look at a series like The Crown, it's suitable to the
Yeah.
OTT medium, and it's probably higher budgeted and more watched
And
than
long
most
format.
theatrical films.
Very long format, yes.
So I just think it depends on the story you want to tell.
Thank you so much for this interaction and for taking out time for us. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes Bank and CNBC TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance. Yes Bank and CNBC TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance.
Max Life is one of the leading life insurance providers in the country. And it aims to be the most respected life insurance company in India by ensuring financial security of its customers is maintained through comprehensive protection and long-term savings solutions. To tell us more about its vision, we have with us a change leader with over 2 decades of invaluable experience and expertise in finance, leadership, and strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming on stage Prashant Tripathi, MD and CEO, Max Life Insurance, for a very special address.
As per the growth rates that we are witnessing just now, it is highly likely that somewhere around 2031 we will hit that number. But I think the bigger debate is how quickly can we get there and how well do we get there. And the quick question, or the question around speed, is linked to the subject today, which is around innovation. The more innovative we become, the more differentiated we become, the faster we grow. And equally, how well we grow is rooted into how financially inclusive this growth is. What a place it is to discuss innovation. Nothing like Hyderabad. Hyderabad has been at the forefront of innovation and has created a model which many of the states could just copy. Fintech disruptions. Disruption not in terms of the outcomes, but I think banking, financial services coming with fintechs, life insurance coming with insurtech is really creating an ecosystem of collaboration, which is propelling growth. The fintech business will be about $200 billion by 2030. Will have asset under management of $1 trillion by 2030. These are really large numbers. Digital lending growing at a fast pace. So the point that I'm trying to make is we must take pride in the innovation that we are seeing in the ecosystem, and I think that builds foundation for our growth, and we should expect that we will not take longer. In fact, we should take shorter to get to the destination, an intermediate destination of 10 trillion, and eventually, as our Honorable Prime Minister says, by 2047, hitting a number of upwards of $30 billion. One has witnessed Hyderabad transform so beautifully from being a historic city to now a tech city. It is definitely the second destination in terms of new startup, new ecosystem which is being built. What, in my belief, is going to create or take us to the 10 trillion part really quicker, there are 5 or 6 areas. Firstly, stability of policy making. But more than that, I think macroeconomic consistency is also important. The combination of monetary policy and fiscal, as a result, India has been doing quite well. The digital public infrastructure that got built and many things that we're talking about now is being built. It's like guardrails, or it's like the track on which the vehicles move. And I think all of us put together will have to continue to build on the basic digital foundation which has been created, all the sectors. I always say, collectively, we can come together and think about the country, but any big plans should have small plans, right? Likewise, maybe the industry that I represent, insurance industry, will have to figure out what is our plan for 2032. Banking industry will have to come together and decide what is their plan. Every industry must have a plan, because when all the plans will aggregate, maybe we'll hit the number. I think technology will continue to evolve, artificial intelligence, Gen AI, which will require investment. But one area that we must continuously talk about is the cybersecurity part. I think investments must go because as we evolve, risk management in the area of technology will become equally important. Thank you very much, and let's wish all of us all the best so that we hit that national mark as soon as we could. Thank you.
YES Bank and CNBC-TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.